I'm Ryan, setthepacetriathlon.com. Greetings, salutations, and good afternoon at the time of the recording of this video. We are live. We are talking about the training stress score. So I like to do little quick tips on Facebook during the week, make them short to the point. So it's not going to go to totally in-depth information, especially training stress score. It's a huge can of worms. A lot of people see it out there. I'm in Training Peaks coaching my athletes, so I see it on a consistent basis. Other programs use it as well, just because it's nice to have it from platform to platform, and it's kind of an overall encompassing score of your workouts and kind of your fitness levels and stuff. But a lot of people are kind of wondering, what is training stress score? Do I really need it? Do I need to pay attention to it? As a coach, I pay attention to it because it's a good indicator of your load. You're either getting enough or too much, or the 10% rule. We don't want going over a certain amount of increasing workload, and that TSS, training stress score, kind of is a decent indicator of total load. So you've got intensity and time, but if you got a lot of time, you may not have as much intensity, so your stress score may be low for the week. Or it's really short, compressed workouts, but it's a lot of intense stuff. So if you got your athletes out there doing, kind of going rogue, you can kind of see from their training stress score, it's like, whoa, they're kind of going over for this week. They went from 500 this week to 1,000 this week. Something's going on. I need to check in. Could be maybe they're sick and their heart rate's just high, or they're out there just trying to race every Zwift race they can possibly get into for the week or something like that and going rogue, or who knows what. So it's a good indicator for me as a coach. It's also informative, I think, for athletes to kind of understand a little bit of higher level of what's going on. So what I like to do first is, this is like I said, Training Peaks is kind of where I live as far as coaching my athletes, and this is their definitions of training stress scores and what they do with this information. So there's a couple different ones. There's training stress score for biking and rowing when you have a power meter only. So there's no heart rate involved in this. It's just time and power. And then there's running total stress score. So they've got to have a way to calculate the stress score for each function and modality of working out to make sure they can just add it all together. So it's not like, here's your bike, here's your run, here's your swim, here's all your other stuff, and then you have to figure it out on your own. But running is calculated by second most accurate method of calculating stress score, and is the default method for run workouts. Here's average calculate time series with pace and elevation data, use your threshold run. So you could go back here and read. I'm not going to bore you with reading all the details. Like I said, you can go back and kind of read through what each one of these is training stress score for swimming. I like the biking because when you get to the 70.3 distance and the Ironman distance, the biking is going to play a key factor in whether you're successful at the race or not. Just plain and simple in my world. If you don't handle that bike portion well for 112 miles or 56 miles, it will definitely dictate how the run goes, no matter what your fitness is for the run. If you cannot reach that fitness goal because you've wasted yourself on the bike, it's going to be a good indicator that you're not going to do well for the entire race as a whole. You may kill the bike, but when you get out to the run, you have to do 6 or 7 hours because you murdered yourself on the bike because you didn't train properly, then I think that's good information to have. So again, you can go into the Training Peaks, just Google TSS Training Peaks, and this will have all the high-level information of how you want to calculate it, all this other good stuff, and kind of a little bit more detail of what they use to come up with the training stress score. But I kind of boiled it down to in my tips and what I think is more important. And let me move my little icon here so you can read along as we go through. So full training stress score TSS composite number takes into account duration and intensity. So we're talking more along the lines of the bike for power and for time. TSS conceptually modeled, so this is part of the definition after heart rate based training impulse. So it's modeled after that, but it's using power for the bike and for rowing, if you use rowing at all. You'll need a power meter data file containing time series duration and power data and power threshold FTP for zones. So you got to have the FTP. I do this, I set it up for my athletes. A lot of people do the FTP test. You can do them on Zwift. I've got a structured workout that I give my athletes in Training Peaks, and they do it on a 4 or 6 week basis, or if they feel their power zones are kind of off, we'll go and do that. So you got to have that accurate FTP. And when you do the workouts, you got to have a power meter or a smart trainer that records power, and you have the device that records it and then syncs with it, Garmin, Polar, Apple, whatever you got, Zwift. If you just do your rides on Zwift and it records everything and you sync it to Training Peaks, it can calculate the TSS there as well. So, when I'm out I've got a smart trainer that has power, and I've also got power meter pedals. So when I do a workout, I can look on my Garmin and see what my TSS is for the workout to see kind of if I'm overreaching or underreaching or didn't perform as well as I thought I should, or if it was a recovery ride, then I keep that TSS nice and low. So it's kind of a good indicator. It takes in all the factors. So you could look at your average power and be like, that's kind of seems right. But when you look at the TSS, it takes that power over time, kind of calculates it. TSS only applies to biking and rowing. Kind of went over that. Normalized power is used to calculate TSS. So normalized power kind of takes in the whole ride duration. So some points you're going to be coasting, so your power going to be zero. Some points you're going to spike just because you're jamming on the pedals or something. So it kind of normalizes the power reading over time and takes out the spikes and everything, and kind of it's not a true average. It's kind of a weighted average based on your effort and the terrain and all that kind of stuff, and takes out the outlying factors. So it's not a true average, but it's normalized. The intensity factor is used to calculate TSS. So you'll notice Training Peaks, and I look at this with my athletes, intensity factor comparing your normalized power to what your FTP is, to say, you're at 1.0, man, you basically spent this entire workout at a FTP, which is either good or bad, depending on the point of the workout. Or, you can tell if you're supposed to be a zone 2 ride and you're at 0.6, 0.7, 0.75, 0.8. Says, oh, okay, so they stay within themselves, but if it's in a 0.8, 0.9, it's like, unless it was a short workout and that's what I'm intended for you to do, then it's kind of a good indicator that you kind of went overboard on your workout. So intensity factors are kind of a nice little easy point to glance to say, yeah, this is supposed to be zone 2, or yeah, this is supposed to be a super intense workout. So it's kind of a good indicator. Or, if an athlete comes to me and said this workout was really hard and it was supposed to be really easy, then it's a good indicator to say, well, maybe we need to retest your FTP and kind of see where you're really at, see if something's kind of happened. It's also a good indicator if your smart trainer and your power meter on your bike or whatever, when you go outdoors, if they're not the same, if they're not within plus or minus like 5 watts or something like that, if your indoor power is reading 10 watts higher and your outdoor power is 10 watts lower, then you got a problem. Kind of good indicator saying that bike ride outside was a lot harder than I thought it should have been. I was trying to reach my power goals, so it's kind of a good indicator too that your power meters were a little bit different. So got to pay attention to little nuances like this, because if you're training 10 watts higher outdoors or 10 watts lower outdoors, just look at Lionel Sanders' videos where he found out his power meters were different, and when he's outside doing his rides, they were completely different when he's doing them on his trainer. So it's a good indicator, kind of a nice little thing to glance at and kind of see what's going on. Like I said, there's also TSS for run and swim, so you can go back to Training Peaks and kind of read all about, the run training score, the swim training stress score, and all that kind of good stuff. Those as well. So that's kind of a good indicator to have. So you can go through and check those out. Do not need TSS to get quality training done. So do you need it? No, you don't. I mean, you can kind of go by feel. You can tell if your workout was really hard, really easy, or if you should have gone harder or should have gone easier. I mean, there's you want to keep a factor of, if you've got the metrics, it's good to have them, good to know them, good to understand them. But if you don't have them, it's not the end of the world. If you just go out there and you're doing it by feel, there's nothing wrong with that as well. So you don't need TSS, but if you're like using a Training Peaks plan and you've got the tools and everything, and it feeds the information in there, and you're getting that good information. So good information in, good information out. If it's garbage in, there's garbage out, then you don't pay attention to it. But you don't need it. That's not the end of the world. It definitely helps out, and definitely can help you economize your time in the future and maximize the benefit of your workouts to be more concise, whereas maybe you're spending an hour and a half could be whittled down to an hour and get the same kind of effect out of it. If you're looking at TSS and structured workouts and doing it by power and that type of thing. So you can get quality training done without TSS, but it may not be as simplified to know how to do workouts. And then no one says you need to go get a power meter or smart trainer to get TSS. So again, TSS for the bike is based off power meter. So if you don't have one or don't have a way to estimate one, I know there are different apps out there that can estimate power based on your heart rate and other things. So it can kind of fudge it in there. You can kind of get that information over to Training Peaks if you want to. But you don't need to go out and get a power meter. But I just most of my athletes have an indoor trainer, so they're always getting the power information in there. So it's good to know what that power is and what it can possibly get for you. And I know this is a quick little tip. I just talked here 10 minutes about training stress score just to get you aware of it. If anything, like I said, go to Training Peaks, Google Training Peaks and TSS, and I'll come up here and you can read all this detailed information. I'm not going to go over it. I'm not going to bore you to tears about it, but this is my kind of boiled down information about it. It's good information to have if you can get it, and if you got it, know how to use it. And if you got any questions, put them in the comments. I'll get back to you. If you're seeing this later, it's up. Yeah, give them a thumbs up on Facebook. Give a like on YouTube. Hit the subscribe button. Put a comment if you have any questions or anything like that. I'll get back to them. I'll get notifications for those questions. We're going to wrap it up. I don't want to bore you to tears. So hopefully this helps you out. Happy training out there, and we'll see you at the finish line.